It's a warm afternoon and something orange and black drifts down out of nowhere and lands directly on your arm, wings slowly opening and closing, completely unbothered by how close it is to you. Most people smile, maybe take a photo, and assume it's pure random chance, a pretty insect that happened to land on the nearest warm surface. That landing wasn't random at all, and what's actually happening on your skin in that moment involves a sense most people don't even know butterflies have. There's a twist near the end of this one, something about what that exact butterfly might be doing to you right now, that most people never find out. Most people guess a butterfly landing on them is just an accident, nothing more than a moment of luck. The real answer isn't even close to that. Stay until the end. Let's follow this one from the second it actually chose to land. She didn't land on you by accident. She landed because of what you are, chemically. Butterflies don't have a nose, and they don't taste with a mouth the way most animals do. Their primary chemical sensors are located on their feet, meaning the instant a butterfly lands on your arm, she is, quite literally, tasting your skin through her legs. Sweat contains salts, sugars, and trace minerals, and to a butterfly's chemoreceptors, human skin can register as a legitimate resource worth investigating, especially on a hot day when salt becomes genuinely valuable to an insect that can't produce it internally. That landing wasn't a compliment or a coincidence. It was a chemical sensor system doing exactly what it evolved to do, sampling you the same way it would sample a flower. Now here's the part almost nobody knows about how she got to you in the first place. Butterflies see color in a range that extends well beyond human vision, including ultraviolet wavelengths completely invisible to our eyes. Many flowers have ultraviolet patterns on their petals, essentially glowing landing strip markings guiding pollinators towards the nectar, patterns humans can only see using specialized UV photography. Some researchers believe brightly colored clothing, sunscreen residue, or even sweat itself can occasionally reflect light in ways that resemble those UV cues closely enough to draw a butterfly's attention from a distance. The butterfly currently sitting on your arm may have spotted you the same way she spots a flower field. Not through curiosity about you as a person, but through a visual and chemical signal she's been engineered by millions of years of evolution to chase. And this is where the story becomes something you can actually feel if you know what to look for. Butterflies don't drink through a mouth either. They uncoil a long, flexible, straw-like structure called a proboscis, kept tightly coiled beneath the head when not in use, and extend it to feed on liquid. If a butterfly stays on your skin for more than a few seconds, there's a real chance she's doing exactly that right now, extending that proboscis and drawing tiny amounts of moisture and salt directly from your skin, an act called puddling when it happens at actual mud puddles, where butterflies, almost exclusively males in most species, gather in groups to extract minerals they'll later transfer to a female during mating as a kind of nutritional gift. The butterfly resting quietly on your arm this afternoon might, in a very literal sense, currently be feeding, using you the exact same way she'd use a damp patch of soil. By the time she finally lifts off again, something else has already happened, and this is the twist most people never expect. Here's the detail that changes how you'll think about that moment completely. That butterfly wasn't admiring you, and she wasn't sending you a message in any sense your instincts might want to believe. She was running a hardwired chemical and visual survival routine, the same one she runs on every flower, every puddle, every salty surface she happens to encounter, and you simply happen to register as a viable stop along the way. And here's the part that actually surprises people. Some species can taste sugar concentrations at levels roughly 200 times more sensitive than the human tongue, meaning what feels to you like an ordinary arm on an ordinary afternoon might, to her, register as a genuinely detectable resource worth stopping for. Faint traces of salt and sugar you're not even consciously aware are there. The moment you assumed was about connection was actually a precise biochemical assessment running in real time on a scale of sensitivity you don't have access to yourself. And there's something happening inside her body during this exact moment that most people never consider either. A butterfly's body is cold-blooded, meaning her flight muscles need to reach a specific internal temperature before she can generate enough power to take off again. If she landed on you shortly after emerging from shade or during a slightly cooler part of the afternoon, part of what's happening while she sits there isn't just tasting or feeding, it's thermoregulation. Darker patches on her wings, the same black sections framing that bright orange pattern, are especially efficient at absorbing warmth from sunlight, and human skin, running at a steady 98.6 degrees, can actually function as a small, temporary heat source. In cooler weather, a butterfly resting on a warm arm may be doing something closer to charging a battery than making any kind of gesture toward you at all, quietly raising her flight muscles to operating temperature using the nearest available warm surface, which today happened to be you. And this raises a question most people never think to ask: why trust something as unpredictable as a human being at all? The answer comes down to how a butterfly actually processes risk. Her nervous system isn't built to recognize you as a person, a predator, or a threat category the way a mammal's brain would. It processes stimuli almost entirely through immediate sensory input, motion, temperature, chemical signal, light pattern, and very little else. Sudden movement registers as danger and triggers an immediate escape response, which is why a butterfly bolts the instant you flinch or wave your arm. But stillness, warmth, and a faint chemical signature that resembles a resource simply doesn't register as a threat category at all, regardless of the fact that the surface in question happens to be attached to a living, thinking human being. In a very real sense, the reason a butterfly will comfortably land on a still human arm isn't trust. It's the complete absence of a concept of you as anything other than a warm, faintly promising surface worth a brief chemical check. And there's one more layer to this that most people never think to ask. Why would evolution build a creature this delicate, with wings that can tear from a single rough touch, to rely on landing directly on unpredictable surfaces like human skin at all? The answer comes down to a simple trade-off between energy and opportunity. Flying constantly burns enormous amounts of energy for an insect with such a small body mass, and any surface offering even a trace of usable moisture, minerals, or warmth is worth a brief investigation if the cost of landing and lifting off again is low enough. Butterflies that were slightly bolder about testing unfamiliar surfaces, including the occasional human arm, gained access to resources more cautious individuals missed entirely. Over enough generations, that willingness to sample anything chemically or thermally promising became baked into the behavior of the species. Every landing on your skin today is the current living result of that exact evolutionary math, playing out in real time, completely indifferent to whether you interpret it as a sign, a blessing, or a compliment. That orange and black wing pattern resting on your arm this afternoon, you almost certainly assumed it was random luck or something more meaningful. It landed because her feet can taste the salt on your skin the instant she touches down. She may have spotted you the same way she spots a flower through colors you can't even see. If she stayed more than a few seconds, she may have actually been feeding, drawing moisture directly through a straw-like tongue kept coiled beneath her head, or quietly warming her flight muscles using your own body heat like a battery charger. And the whole encounter you'll remember as beautiful and meaningful was, to her, a precise chemical and thermal assessment running at a level of sensitivity roughly 200 times sharper than anything your own tongue could ever detect, with no concept whatsoever that the warm surface she landed on was capable of remembering the moment at all. Tell me in the comments, has a butterfly ever landed on you and stayed longer than you expected? I want to hear it. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.